So in our last class we understood about conditional statement and also the difference between binary search and linear search. So today we will understand about what is internal table and work area and the types of internal table. Okay, so what is internal table and work area, right? So internal table is a memory allocated in application layer to store multiple records at program runtime. Okay, it's a memory allocated in application layer to store records or data in application layer at program runtime. Okay, so that means we have three-tier architecture, right? Presentation layer, and then we have something called application layer, and the last one is database layer. Do you remember three-tier architecture? So what we do in database, what is the use of database layer? What application layer will do? Hello?
Application layer is the interface between user and presentation layer.
Okay. What is the use of database layer?
We store the table to store data permanently in the form of
So
rows and columns.
correct. So in the database we have something called tables. So it's used to store the data permanently, right? That's what the use of application layer. We have something called tables in the database. Inside those tables we will be storing the data, right guys? All of you? Hello?
Yes.
This is where we store the data permanently, right? So if you want to do something, or if you want to display data that is being stored in application layer, we have to bring it, that is stored in the database. User cannot see it, right? We have to somehow bring the data and process it, and process it means maybe some modification is required for the data, or maybe we have to calculate some calculation is required. Where we do all those calculations, we do it in application layer. Okay, if you are bringing it from the database layer, you need a memory in application layer to store that data, right? All of you? Right? That memory we call it as internal table. Okay, internal table is a memory allocated, or it is used to store multiple rows at program runtime. Okay, it's a memory allocated to store data at program runtime, only at runtime. Once the program executed, data will be lost. Okay, there will be no data. Okay, it is used to store multiple rows. It's not for single rows. If you want to store multiple rows, in that case you can use internal table. Are we clear? Are we clear? It's a memory allocated to store multiple rows at program runtime. That's what internal table is all about. Yes or no, please?
Yes, sir.
So next is work area. What is work area, or what are the types of internal tables we have? We have three different types: standard internal table, sorted internal table, and hashed internal table. Okay, standard internal table. Sorted and hashed internal table. Okay, these are the three types of internal tables we have. We will understand about all three. Okay, let's understand what is work area now, right? So work area is a memory allocated in application layer to store single record or a row at program runtime. Okay, so internal table is a memory allocated to store multiple rows, but work area is a memory allocated to store single row. Okay, it's not allocated to store multiple records, it's only allocated to store single row at program runtime. Understood? Guys, are we clear on this? Hello? It is allocated to, it's a memory allocated to store single row at program runtime. It cannot store multiple records, only one row. Okay, if you're bringing single record from the database, or you're trying to read the data that is stored in internal table to work area, you can use the work area. Okay, so it's mainly used for operation. You cannot directly operate the data which is stored inside an internal table, but you can use work area to do that. Okay, you can read one by one row to the work area and then apply your logic or whatever calculations that you want to do, and then store it in an work area or in an internal table. Are we clear on this? Understood or not?
Yes.
Okay. And about the types of internal tables that we have. Okay, the types of internal tables. Okay, so standard internal table, standard internal table, sorted internal table, and hashed internal table. Okay, standard internal table, sorted internal table, hash. These are the three types. Before that, let's see in a system how internal table and work area, how we can create internal table and work area. Okay, I think the connection might have lost already. I don't know, sometimes the server doesn't work. This is how you declare internal table. First of all, you need a structure to define internal table. What is structure? What is structure?
Structure is a template which does not store any data.
Yes, it's a template, right? So basically the structure is used to provide the technical attributes to the internal table or to the work area. Do you remember we also created local structures, right, by using types? Let's create one more. Types begin of your structure name. I'll say type structure underscore, maybe I'll say Mara, okay, and end of ts underscore Mara. This is the syntax to create structure, right? So inside this we'll have the columns like material number, type material number, matrn is again a data element, and maybe let's say mbRSH, type mbRSH again, okay, and let's say mtart, type mtart, and matkl, type matkl, okay. So some structure that we are defining, and maybe the quantity column menge, type the data element is menge underscore d, and meins, type meins, okay. So unit of measure. So these are the columns the structure can have, right? So after defining structure, you can also directly use structure to define internal table, or you can create a table type. Okay, we'll use only the structure right now. So how do you define internal table? So types is always used to define a data type. ts underscore Mara is a data type, right? It's a complex data type, it's a structure. So we will use the structure to define an internal table. How do we do that? You have to say data, and you know that we also follow the coding standards. If I want to declare any internal table, either I use global or I may use the local internal table, or one more thing is that you just you don't want to confuse with the global and local right now. Just start with it means it's an internal table, okay. You can also do that if you are not interested in global and local definition. So say it underscore, maybe I'll say Mara. To define a standard internal table, you have to use type standard, type table of should be fine, okay, type table of the structure here, sorry, this is the structure, right? So this is how you define internal table. To define work area, say work area underscore Mara, type, just type, you have to use your structure, okay. So this is the syntax to define internal table, and this is the syntax to define work area. Understood the syntax? Here you have to use type table of to define internal table, just type to define in work area. Are we clear the difference between syntax of internal table and work area?
Yes.
Right, okay. So now let's store some data. So you cannot directly store the data in internal table. First of all, you have to store in work area. Let's say I'll just copy the columns. How do you do that quickly? You can hold Alt from your keyboard and then left mouse and drag down, and then Control C and paste it. So just before this, I'm going to write work area underscore Mara hyphen, and after this we will have equals to, and then this, right? So material, maybe I'll say laptop, and I, and FERT, some like finished product or something, 0 1, and it's around 1.5 and it's a kg. Okay, so like that. So maybe this is a mouse and it's all around 300 gram, right? So charger, it's around 500 gram. Okay, so some materials. Okay, I'm trying to put all these materials in work area. That doesn't store, actually work area cannot store all the records. Okay, so let's see what happens if it cannot store. If I try to store a new value or new row, let's see, maybe I'll just say a, this one be just to differentiate it, maybe ROH, raw material, something like that, and say 200. Okay, let it be there, that's fine. So check for an error, no errors, activate. This is how you store the data into work area. This is what we call assigning, right? If you remember, we also have done that most of the time. So all these are assignments. You see here also I'm assigning 10 to the variables, but we try doing it for variables. Okay, even when I was teaching you the structure, even I also shown you how to assign it to the work area, right? So what you have to do, you have to mention your work area name hyphen for which column you are trying to store the value, the column name, and equal to, and what value you want to store. Even it can be an hard coded value, or it can also come from another variable, right? So do pretty printer and activate the program, and also keep breakpoint here, and let's execute and see and how this internal table and work area looks like. So this is IT underscore Mara and work area underscore Mara. You see it's saying that it's initial standard table, that means standard internal table. Okay, this is actually standard internal table, and a flat structure, it's saying flat like structure. Okay, you see this is how internal table look like. You see it looks like table, multiple rows are available here, right? And the work area looks something like this, no rows, right? So let me show you. Now maybe what I will do, I'll just replace this tool with a structure tab. So how do you do that? So here there is an icon, replace tool. Okay, click on that and say structure, right? So now double click on work area Mara. You see here it comes here. Just execute one by one. You see this is how the data will be stored inside and work area. See, understood? This is one row, right? So now next time when I try to store another row, work area cannot store. So what do you think, what happens now if I try to store next row?
Only next
Sorry,
only next row data would be displayed.
it we have not written any code to display, right? We just written it to store. So see,
Yes, stored.
it will override the existing data inside the work area, right? It's overwritten completely, correct?
Okay, yeah.
So work area cannot store multiple rows, it can only store one row at a time. See, so how do we store all these three rows then? What?
Internal table.
Yes, we have to store in internal table. How? Append work area underscore Mara. What is append? In the next class we will understand. Okay, so I'll show you. Right now just remember. So I'll just append it to an internal table. Okay, again I go here and replace this tool with a table tool, right? And IT underscore Mara. So now you see internal table can store multiple rows. See, work area cannot store multiple records, it can only store one, but internal table can store multiple records. Understood? Understood the difference between internal table and work area now? Are we
Yes, sir.
clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
But that means, so why do you use both the internal table and work area? So why can't you go with the only internal table?
You cannot directly operate on internal tables. I'm I okay. So since I know new syntax, it is actually possible if you use new syntax. Okay, you don't need an work area, but that is new syntax and it's latest. So but since we are learning the old approach of ABAP, so it is not possible with this. You cannot directly put the data into internal table. You can do it when you write select statement. You can use internal table. Whatever the data that comes from the database, you can directly put it into work internal table. But while filling it in application layer, you cannot do it. Okay, you cannot modify or change the internal table data directly. So what we basically do, we always read the data from internal table to work area, and then we apply the modification, and then from that again we modify internal table.
Okay.
Okay, we cannot operate on internal table directly. Fine. Okay, anybody any doubts, guys? Understood? So far so good.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's understand about the types of internal tables we have. Okay, syntax. How do you define the standard? This is one way to define the standard internal table, type table of. Okay, another way is that you can use it underscore mara type standard table of ts underscore mara. Either you can use the above syntax or the below syntax, both defines the standard internal table only. Okay, so this is the syntax to define the standard internal table, right? So maybe I'll comment this. Okay, so this is how you define the standard internal table. This is the syntax to define. Okay, so let me keep the syntax here. Data, this is your internal table name. Let's say itab. Okay, and then here you have to provide the structure, right? Structure name. Okay, so this is the syntax to define the standard internal table. Understood? Right? So standard internal table will have what are the properties of standard index? Let's understand. Standard internal table have row index. That means we can perform index operation. So what is this index operation? Let's see. Okay, so it has a row index and you can perform index operation. That's nothing but, so let's say read table. Okay, you don't know about the syntax, you will understand in the next class once we start internal table operation. So I'm just showing it underscore mara into work area underscore mara where index 1. Okay, so or delete it underscore mara index 2. Okay, this kind of index operation, reading the records or deleting the records based on the row number. Okay, we call it as index operation. Understood? Standard internal table have the row index. That means the indexes, the row IDs like 1 2 3 4 5 6, right? So based on that you can perform the index operation, either deleting the record based on index or reading the record based on index. You can do that. Okay, we will see that in the next class. These are the index operations. Understood? Clear? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so you can perform index operation. You can, it also has the key field. So what happens, like when you define the standard internal table, okay, so system automatically defines the key fields, okay, the primary key fields for the standard internal table. That is like all the fields of your standard internal table except the all the character data type key fields. Okay, character means not only this character. I'm saying character is nothing but all these data types like hexadecimal, time, date, numeric character. All these columns will be the all these data types columns will be the key field of an internal table, and these columns will be the non-key field of internal table. That's how system do it. Okay, here we have the non-character data type, that is packet decimal, right? So that is like numeric data type. So if you see the key column here, there's an icon key. When you click on this, it will show you already uh, the key fields of internal table. You see, except the MENG, all of them are key field of a table because these are the character data types, right? So system automatically defines the key field for an internal table. Okay, so that is, so that since it has key field, you can also do key operation, right? You can also perform operation on key field. Okay, that means very simple. So let me show you. If you write some statement like let's say for example read table it underscore mara into work area underscore mara, okay, with key matnr is equal to maybe laptop. This is key operation. Or so delete or you can also say where class, right? Where is also key. it underscore mara into work area underscore mara where 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 matkl is equal to 0 1. Read all the materials where matkl is 0 1. This kind of where class is also like key operation, or this is a key operation. Okay, so you can perform this kind of key operations on the standard internal table. Understood? Understood or not?
Yeah.
Okay. And then let's say here when we define standard internal table, system automatically consider all the character data type field as key field for an internal table. So you can perform or maybe this is better. Okay, so the next thing is, whenever you write a read table statement like this based on the key field, Okay, system automatically performs the linear search. Okay, when you search records of an internal table, okay, system by default, or else let's say ABAP runtime by default performs linear search. Okay, it by default performs linear search. Okay, if you want, you can mention binary search keyword to search, or to use, if you want, you can mention binary search keyword explicitly, let's say, so that you can, or so that the system do binary search, right? So that means by default it does the linear search. If you want, you have to say additionally binary search. That's when the system will do binary search. Otherwise by default it will do linear search only. Okay, so that is one more thing. And then next is the records of internal table not sorted. Okay, you can sort using sort statement. Okay, the records of an internal table not sorted, you can sort using sort statement. You can sort them using the sort statement. Okay, so this is what, these are the properties of standard internal table. Are we clear, all of you? Hello?
Yes.
Understood or not?
Yes.
Guys, are we clear on this, or yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Next is sorted internal table. The syntax to define sorted internal table is different. And now this is a sort. Here you have to say type sorted table of. Okay, and if you see earlier there were no key fields mentioned. Okay, so here key fields are not mandatory. Okay, mentioning key fields are not mandatory, but here you see it showing red color. That means you have to mention the key fields. You have to manually provide the key field. System doesn't consider, right? So you have to manually provide. Let's say with unique or non-unique key, you can say the data based on this column is unique or non-unique. Okay, unique means unique rows based on that column. If there is a non-unique entry based on that column, then system gives the dump. You should be careful. Okay, with unique row or non-unique row you can mention it. With unique, or let's say with unique key. Okay, if you want to go with non-unique key, in that case you have to say non-unique key. Okay, so this is how you mention whether it's a unique or non-unique. Okay, so here you can provide the field based on this key field. Based on this field, the internal table column data is not unique or unique. Okay, this is the syntax to define the sorted internal table. Here you provide the iTab name. the internal table name. Okay, and then here you provide the structure name, and here you mention either this is a unique data or unique key field or non-unique key field, and then here you can provide the fields. Like this. Okay, you can provide the fields, okay, which based on which column the data is unique or non-unique you can mention here. So do pretty printer. So now check for an error. No errors. I can keep the breakpoint. Let me also write some properties. Here also you can do the index operation, like I said. Okay, so the next one is specifying key field is mandatory. Okay, you must have to specify the key fields. Okay, specifying key field is mandatory. If key fields are available, then you can perform operation on key fields. Okay, you can perform operation on key fields. What are the key field operations? If you remember, these are the key fields operation, right? So you can perform operations on the key fields. So next is, and when you read records of an sorted internal table, when you read records of an sorted internal table, system sorted internal table based on the key field, system by default use binary search to access the records, access the record of an internal table. Okay, system by default do binary search. Okay, you don't have to mention binary search. System do binary search automatically. You don't have to add this additional extra keyword here. Okay, that's the difference between the standard and sorted internal table. And here the records are not sorted in the standard internal table by default, but here the records of an internal table sorted by default in ascending order. Okay, the records of an internal table will be sorted by default in an ascending order. Okay, automatically based on the sorted by default in ascending order based on key field of an internal table. You cannot write additional sort statement. Let me show you now. If there is a sort statement, sort it underscore mara, and this is like by mtart, okay, ascending. Why I'm not showing all the statements? Because I have not taught you yet, right? So in upcoming classes you will definitely understand. So now you see, if I write sort statement, it will not allow, it will throw an error if it is a standard internal table. Okay, if it is a standard internal table, you can use the sort statement, no problem. See, it no errors. But if it is a sorted internal table, you cannot sort it again. It is automatically or by default already sorted. You cannot sort the data of an standard internal sorted internal table again. It is by default or already sorted based on the key fields of an internal table. Clear? Understood or not? Guys, are we clear on this? Hello?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. One more thing is, let me show you. For standard internal table, you had seen that we could able to use. Okay, I think I have to comment the sort statement, otherwise it will not allow me to activate. Let me comment it. To insert records to the sorted internal table like this, you should not use append actually. Let me show you. It will start giving dump. Press F5. It's working now. Next time you see what happens. A B C D E F G H, right? L M N O P, right? C comes first, then L, and then M should come. Now you see what happens. See? So you should not use the append. Actually, if you are appending it, I don't say you cannot use it. If you are appending, in that case you should append the data in a sorted order. Otherwise, what you can do is like you can just use the insert statement instead of using the append, right? So it's good practice to go with insert statement rather append for the sorted internal table. So let's say insert work area underscore Mara into IT underscore Mara into table IT underscore Mara. Okay, so this automatically insert data in a sorted order. Okay, so that then it won't give any dump like the append statement did, right? So let me show you now. Okay, it is always best practice to go with insert rather than append when you are using the sorted internal table. Otherwise you always have to append the data in a sorted form, so you never know whether it's in a sorted form or not. See, it's inserting. Maybe I'll just replace this tool with a table. The first row laptop is coming, so next M, right? Mouse might come, that's fine, but you see here now when I try to insert charger, C comes before L, right? So now you see what happens. You see, inserted charger at the first place. You see automatically the data is being sorted. The moment you try to store the data will be always sorted. You can also see the key field of an internal table. I defined it as MATNR. Based on MATNR, the data of an internal table will be sorted automatically. Clear? Understood or not, guys? So far so good. Yes. Hello.
So,
Rajnish, work area had around 5 to 6 fields, right?
Correct.
So when you're inserting data into the internal table, only one field was getting updated.
No. All of them. One field because I was executing one by one line here, right? One by one column has been updated. If I execute this column, MATNR. If I execute this column, then MBRSH. If I execute this column, like that. It has all the fields. Understood?
Okay.
See, one by one columns actually. It's nothing. You see, one by one column will get updated after executing each and every line. Right? Okay. So let's also say that it's better practice to use Okay, it's better practice to use insert than append, right? So this is one more thing that I can say. Then oh wait, this is what the properties of the sorted internal table. The last one is standard. Okay, so here hashed internal table does not have row index, and we cannot perform any index operation. Okay, that means you see earlier there were no error when I was performing this index operation for standard and also for the sorted. The moment I define an hashed internal table, sorry, okay, the moment I define it as an hashed internal table, how do you do that? Hashed table. Okay, so and it doesn't support non-unique keys. You cannot use non-unique key, it only support unique keys. Okay, so let me also write it here. And it support both unique and non-unique key field. It supports both unique as well as non-unique key field. Okay, so but in this case it's not like that. It supports only unique, not non-unique. Okay, you cannot have non-unique key field. And now I was talking about the index operation, if you remember. You see, if I check for an error, it will throw an error. See, index operation cannot be used, right? You cannot use this index operation because there will be no index. You cannot perform index operation on hashed internal tables. Okay, you cannot read record where record number is 1. You cannot do that. You cannot delete records where record number is 5, right? Those kind of index operations cannot be performed on hashed internal table, but you can do that on the standard internal table. So here there is no concept of linear search or binary search. Okay, when you read records of an internal table, when you read records of an hashed internal table based on key field, system uses or ABAP runtime use hash algorithm. It uses hash algorithm to search the records. Okay, ABAP runtime uses hash algorithm to search the records. Okay, it doesn't perform linear or binary search because of this. Okay, so the time takes to access first record or 10,000th record approximately same. Okay, the meaning is that hash algorithm takes same time because system knows where this exactly the record is been stored, at which place it is been stored, right? It's a unique record, so it just takes same time, approximately same time. I cannot say constants, but I can say that it takes approximately the same time. Okay, so that was and hashed internal tables has better performance when you're reading the data of an internal table. Okay, that's when this is mostly used. Okay, when you perform more read operations and you have millions of records in an internal table, you can go with hashed internal table. It has a better performance. Okay, and no sorting. The records of internal table are not sorted. You can sort if you want. You can use sort if you want to sort the records in ascending or descending order. Okay, and what to say, you can use either insert or append, doesn't matter. Or let's say instead of first or the first record or the last record. This is the property of hashed internal table. This is the types of internal tables and their properties. Anybody any doubts so far? Are we clear till now? So far so good.
Yes.
Okay guys, that's all for today, and in tomorrow's session we will understand about internal table operations. Okay, so like append, delete, read, loop and all we will see in the next class. In tomorrow's class you will know about this the next class. That's all for today then. Thank you for your time. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.